What's up, you guys? We are back again. Another wonderful episode of Dynasty Queens. I am your host, Juicy Jas, and I'm with the beautiful.
Pamela and Nicole. What's up, y'all?
You guys, we got a special guest in the building. I would love to get a warm welcome to Miss Jassy. Welcome to
Hey
the
y'all.
girl.
Hi.
Hey.
How you guys doing? Beautiful ladies. How's everybody feeling?
I feel blessed.
Good.
I'm alive. I'm happy.
Yes, amen to that.
Right. So, Jazzy, for those who are not familiar with you, give the viewers a little bit of background about yourself, where you came from, and what you do.
Absolutely. So my name is Juicy Jas, Juice Malone, Juice. I have so many names, but I'm an artist from Jersey. Shout out to Brunswick. I'm actually from Englewood, but born in Englewood, raised in North Brunswick. So I've been doing music for over 10 years. I've done a lot of different things. I'm actually just recently signed to a sync licensing agency. So they'll be leasing my music for different movies and like commercials. Like they'll send it out to music supervisors and lease it, so hopefully we're hoping to land something major. We've been shopping around, getting some good feedback. So a lot of great things in the works, new music coming out. But yeah, I'm an artist, and then I also work a 9 to 5. So shout out to my 9 to 5 girlies.
Okay.
I'm a logistics analyst for a liquidation company, a furniture liquidation company. So that's what I do on my, regular. But aside from that, if I'm not in the gym or in the studio, I'm working, doing my thing. So.
Love that. So you mentioned music and your everything. Tell us about like your childhood. Where did you really get that passion for music? What age were you when you started?
So I sang in the choir from young, from like I would say even prior to middle school. So from I guess elementary school. I played the violin from like third grade up until middle school. Then I played basketball most of my life. So I didn't necessarily touch base with music till after high school, my first heartbreak. So I went through a situation, yes, that prompted me to write music about it. And from there, I just kind of kept going. So, yeah.
Okay. That's very interesting. So you're a child, then you go through your first heartbreak as a young girl. So
Right.
did you know before then that you had the gift of, being able to sing or write or anything like that? Or were you like, you know what? Let me just give it a try, and beautiful sound came out.
Right. I mean, I always like love writing. Like math and writing were my favorite subjects in school. Period. So I was
Okay.
always a writer. But like I didn't know I had it. Like I would like at the lunch table we do the grinding beat. Doom, do 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 do, and I would be the one to do my little freestyle, or like outside if we like walking home from school, they'd be like, "Go ahead, Jazz, spit some bars." I might do something funny, or at the parties, like so. I was always doing that, but I never really was like in love with it for real because basketball was my thing. But once I went through that experience, I wrote about it, and I was like, I went to my one of my friends, which his name is DJ Joker. Shout out to him. He's very well known in the Jersey club scene. So I went to his crib, recorded it. Like that was like my big brother at the time, and like I just put it out. And then from there, I just kind of kept dabbling with it, and sharpened my pen, got with certain producers, different things like that. So it kind of evolved from there.
Nice.
Yeah.
But they say through when you go through like something traumatic, like a heartbreak, that's like when you get those like it's like your subconscious, all those like juices just come to the front.
Right.
Like I
exactly.
gotta so
It was real and raw, and it was what she was experiencing. So she was able to put it through music. And I'm sure that probably helped you heal from that, little situation.
Absolutely. It was very therapeutic to get it out. Aside from because of course you want to go. There's other ways to get it out. You could be violent, you could be violent to the person, to yourself, but I think it's a very productive and, constructive way and a healthy way of getting it out, without harming yourself or anyone else. It's a healthy release. So, yeah, definitely helped me heal and, move past some things. So,
Definitely. And then I have a two-part question for you. So the first part is when it came to you deciding what genre you wanted to, pursue, or do you label yourself or consider yourself to be classified in a genre? And then what kind of music influenced that growing up?
Well, I mean, people would consider me like a hip hop and R&B artist. But I dabble in a lot of different things. I do hip hop. I've done one of my actual biggest songs. It was on BET. So it was called Supernatural. It actually played in the U.S. as well as in the U.K. So that was one of my biggest songs, and it was like a pop funk kind of vibe, 70s. Like the whole video was like a 70s theme. I played like 5 different characters, so I have fun in all types of genres. When I growing up, my parents listened to a lot of old school R&B. My family's from the island, so my mom loves Bob Marley. She had some rap music in there, Dr. Dre, Tupac. I heard, came up on them as well. And then my stepfather's from down south, so he was big on like the house club music.
Mm-hmm.
So I had I had an influence from all types of genres. So, but my favorite is R&B. I love R&B. I'm not the strongest singer. I'm a great R&B writer. But singing to me isn't my strongest point. But I could hold a tune. I do my thing. But yeah, I love 90s R&B and 90s to 2000. I think that's the best genre.
Yes, I agree so much with you.
For sure.
That time was what a time to be alive. It was like during that time.
Right. Exactly.
Music was, it was a vibe. Who was your biggest influence from that genre? Like, could be male or female, actually both.
My biggest influence, wow, it's so many. I will honestly say Missy Elliott. I think Missy is such, oh my gosh, because she's so versatile, and I feel like I'm when it comes to like my music and my style, like I really favor her a lot in that aspect. So Missy definitely is a huge influence on just how I do music, how I do my style, even my videos, the creativity behind them. Like, definitely Missy.
I can see that for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
she does all of those as well. She writes for artists, for herself. She can carry a tune, and she is such a creative. And she was really, I think, really transcending with her music videos for the time.
Yes.
We weren't doing stuff like that. That's more, she was ahead of her time. So,
right, exactly.
Definitely respect Missy Elliott. And then what about a male that kind of gave you that same like, okay, he's doing it.
A male artist. Well, I would say more on the hip hop side. He's one of my favorite artists. Jeezy. I love Young Jeezy. That's my guy.
Okay.
I just feel like Jeezy is he had a very big impact on a lot of different cultures. Like, I don't know if y'all know the whole snowman movement. Like, he had everybody. I mean, from the black to the white to the Indian kids to the nerds wearing that shirt. You know what I'm saying? Like, his presence, his music, his impact was felt in so many different areas aside from just in Atlanta. And I just love his rawness. I love his rawness. I think that even just his confidence, his state, like, I just love Jeezy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I even had one of his songs as my ringback tone. I don't know if y'all remember that. When people will call your phone and a song will play, I had Jeezy I had Jeezy playing. So yeah, that is definitely one of the artists that influenced me, like early 2000 Jeezy. Into like mid 2000s for sure.
Yes. I think, you know what? I don't think enough people give Jeezy his flowers, though.
Right.
He would definitely appreciate if he, ever sees this. Like, that's,
He's legendary for sure, not just in Atlanta. So.
Right. He definitely is.
So, yeah.
So you're talking about Supernatural. It was on BET and everything. So that's, by the way, congratulations to that.
Thank you.
A big accomplishment. And so you go from BET and then you roll over to Times Square. You're on Times Square. Tell us.
Oh yeah, the Billboard. Yes. So I actually been on the Billboard a couple times. But the one that recently happened, that was for a song, my latest single I put out called Live It Up. I put it out in February. My guy, shout out to oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. He calls himself the Billboard King. Dorian, my boy Dorian, yes. So he hooked me up with the opportunity to get my music and my video and all that playing on Times Square. So I went for it. And it was awesome. It was amazing. It was so crazy, so dope to see yourself in the middle of Times Square like that. Beyonce was on there right before I was on there. They had, because that's around the time that, what single had came out? Not I can't think of it. Gosh, what Beyonce song came out? I can't even think of it. It was one of her singles that had just popped out earlier this year. So she was kind of that. It was her name laid out on the thing, and then my video played right after her, and I was so gassed. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful moment. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's amazing. Absolutely
Yes,
amazing. That's
thank
like,
you, thank you.
stuff that people work a lifetime for. So I'm sure that you're really appreciative for, your experiences so far.
Yes, absolutely, for sure, definitely.
What would you say to a young woman of color who's looking to get into the music industry or entertainment in general, and thinking about her choices as far as the way she wants to represent herself to the public, her delivery, the type of language she's going to use, stuff like that? What are some factors and things she should consider?
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, you got to love yourself. You got to believe in yourself. I mean, I think that you're your biggest fan. You're your worst enemy. You're your best critic. So it's like you got to definitely believe in what you're doing. Love yourself. Surround yourself with people who support what you're doing, who appreciate what you're doing, even if they're not your friends that you grew up with. I know sometimes we try to put a stamp on loyalty for the longevity of somebody being in our lives, but sometimes that's not really a factor. You can meet somebody who will be loyal to you longer than someone that you've known for 10 years. You know what I'm saying? So it's like being around people who are supportive and who actually show the support. I'm not one of those people that you see on Instagram. They're like, oh, sometimes it's okay if your friends don't support or repost. Like, no, you're supporting and reposting Beyonce, Rihanna, people that will never acknowledge or see you. So it takes nothing for you to do the same for your friend that you genuinely, quote unquote, care about and love and see what they're doing. So, I think it's very important to be very mindful of your surroundings, environments that you're putting yourself in, the people you're allowing into your space. And it's okay to not be okay. I think sometimes we all try to constantly put on a face and put on the image that we're okay and that, and that everything's all right and we don't need help. It's like, no, reach out for help. This is an industry where you need a team, you need people on your side, you need to help, but you also got to be smart. Sometimes it's always best to work smarter and not harder. So just be very strategic as to where you're going, what you're doing, the places you're putting yourself in, situations and things of that nature.
Right.
Always seek help. It's okay to need help. So, if you see somebody out there doing it, you never know. I know sometimes you see people on Instagram, you're like, oh, she'll probably never respond to my DM or she looks like this and that. And some be the coolest people. You know what I'm saying? So don't be intimidated by what you see. You know what I'm saying? Reach out. And some people will never respond to you. And that's okay too, And last but not least, it's okay to be rejected. Rejection is not the end of the world. Sometimes it's probably the best things that happens for you. Rejection is typically God's redirection, so take all the wins with the losses and, just keep going. No matter what, it's okay to take breaks, but just never give up. So that's my best advice to any lady, whether she's black, white, whatever, do your thing.
That last part though about rejection, that was so beautifully spoken because you couldn't have said any truer words. Like, it's not the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
One person's opinion about something, you keep going. Don't let it stop you from doing anything. And I think enough people don't have the confidence to either get started or even continue the process after feeling some type of rejection. So,
right, exactly.
To add on to that, it's a blessing in disguise too. I always look at rejection as like, it wasn't meant for me.
Exactly.
There's there for me.
And not for nothing. Like, it may not just be the right time. Like, you always hear the story about J. Cole. He met Jay-Z a year before he signed him, and Jay-Z told him, no, work harder. Like, you're not ready. Came back a year later, and Jay-Z signed him. So, you know what I'm saying? If J. Cole would have given up from that first no, we wouldn't have known the J. Cole we know now. Wow. So, so you just got to look at things like that. So sometimes it's just timing too. So.
Yeah. And you know what? Sometimes the rejection was needed at that moment because it could have been constructive. Because regardless, a lot of the time it'll make you want to go harder and be like, you know what? I want to prove the haters or whoever wrong. Just really have some confidence about yourself and be like, you know what? I could do this.
Exactly.
And once that person starts believing in themselves, then it'll kind of,
right.
When you're dealing with important people, you'll be more noticeable and you'll be like, okay, I fuck with them because,
exactly.
I feel like it about you.
Exactly.
Hey guys, it's Pamela and Nicole from Dynasty Queens, and I'm here today to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, socialmediablaststop.net. If you're out here as an entrepreneur, an artist, a model, you name it, and you're trying to get your business off the ground, they got you covered. Whether you're on social media platforms such as Instagram, X, Facebook, or if you're an artist, if you're on wanting to get on platforms such as Spotify, Apple Music, or Amazon Music, socialmediablaststop.net has you covered. Since you're new to the game, go ahead and save 30% on your purchase with socialmediablaststop.net and get your business going. Go ahead and scan that QR code right down here and got you all set. Well, Ms. Jas, I wanted to touch a little bit on your modeling, Miss Ma'am. Tell us about your modeling journey.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm very new to it. I just wanted to dabble in it. Like I said, in my artistry, I kind of reflect that in like everything I do. So I like to try things and do things. I have the height, I have the look, I feel like. So yeah, I've done a couple shows. I did Deshar. He's a pretty well known fashion designer out of Philadelphia. Also, a friend of mine. Some of his looks have been on like Love and Hip Hop, BET Awards. Some people have worn some of his stuff. So his name is Deshar Rashad. Check him out. Yeah, so I walked in his fashion show, New York Fashion Week last September. And I did a fashion show for autism awareness, a gentleman named Kyle Woodland out of Philadelphia as well. He had a really big fashion show. A clip of me was on the Fox News in Philadelphia of me walking down the runway. They actually spoke to one of the designers. They did like a segment on her. And I had wore one of her looks. So there was a clip of me walking down the runway. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, so I'm very new to it. I'm definitely open to trying new things. I'm always submitting my work, trying to get in like commercials and, do more shows. So, yeah, but so far so good. It's been a pretty fun experience. So
That's good. I'm glad you've had like a really positive experience.
Yeah.
With, because I mean, some people take hit or miss, or they've, encountered some, photographers that aren't very professional, stuff
Right.
like that. So that's really
I've been
good.
very blessed. Yeah, I've been thank God it hasn't been, like you said, any weirdos for the most part. So
You are so good.
yeah.
So I do have a question, Jazzy. So
Sure.
when you were in your your writer's head, pretty much, do you have pen and paper? Are you like typing on your phone? Is it something you just have in your head and you just
Get it out.
what's that writing process look like? And then what is your favorite song or poem or whatever that you've written?
Okay, yeah. So in terms of writing, so I actually kind of like progressed or evolved. I used to actually write. So I had pads and notepads full of like lyrics. And then I transitioned to my phone. So I actually saved my phone number in my phone. It's notes to self. So any lyrics, any notes, like anything pop, because I'm very forgetful sometimes. So anything that pops in my head immediately, I put it in my notes to self. I'll text it to myself. So I do that a lot now. I write and text to myself, but now as of lately too, I've been just kind of going in the booth and forcing myself to just get it out because I want to get to the point where I'm just kind of banging things out. I love to write. I've been a great writer for a long time, but I want to, progress and become a little quicker and write more songs, so it'd be easier if I'm able to go in there and just kind of 1, 2, 3 it. So I'm getting better with that. So it really depends on the mood. Sometimes I'll get a beat and hear it for months, for years. I might sit on a beat. I might sit on a beat for a couple months. It might take me a couple hours. It just really depends on where I'm at in life, my vibe for the day. A lot of things could factor into the whole process of how it comes out. But yeah, so, and in terms of my favorite song that I've written, it would definitely have to be, honestly, Supernatural or Whole Lotta. Those are like neck and neck for me. So, yeah. Yeah.
For like other artists, like I know you said that you write for other people as well. Do you kind of, because I always wondered this about writers, do you kind of get to know the artist before you write the song? So you kind of get a feel for like their life and what they've gone through? Or do you kind of just have them kind of spit like what you've got going on in your life, what you've been through? How does that work?
Well, the couple people that I've written for, like we've gotten briefs, like what the artist is looking for, and we would just kind of write off that and send reference tracks. So for the major artists, I haven't actually, God willing, maybe one day I'll get to sit in the studio with them. But for those type of artists, when you're sending reference tracks, for the most part, you kind of just do that in your own studio. And, because the artist, they're well known, you can always go back to their catalog, watch interviews to kind of get a feel for them as a person outside of the music to kind of help, write. But for the most part, they kind of give you, all right, the artist is looking for this type of vibe, and they'll give you songs to kind of reference what they want you to write like. But for like artists like, like local or whatever artists, like we'll be in the studio. And, we'll have a conversation prior to us beginning, the session just to kind of see where they're at, what they're looking for, their mood, we'll go through some beats. And, so the beat really does also determine too, also kind of the direction, how the song's going to go. If it's going to be up tempo, if it's going to be calypso type 2-step vibes or reggaeton, hip hop, like it's trap, so that also factors into it too. But yeah, for sure, if I have an opportunity to get to know an artist prior to working with them, I think that's the best route to go. It will definitely help, the whole process of writing and making better music. So
absolutely. What's the largest or the biggest artist that you've worked with so far in your career?
Well, I haven't actually. So I got an opportunity to play Timbaland, the producer, my song. He was doing like live streams. He still does it on TikTok, and I played it. So I have a clip of it on my page, and he was liking the song a lot too. It was a Jersey Club song that I did with this kid named Sayson. So I didn't get to actually like directly work with him, but in terms of like him hearing my music and stuff like that. I got a chance to get in the studio with Fendi, which is the DJ / producer. I would call Fendi a playmaker. He's the guy that discovered Nicki Minaj. So I don't have any credits right now for major artists.
Yeah.
I have submitted work for like Major Galore. She's a pretty well-known artist coming out of New York and stuff like that. We've submitted some stuff for like Fast and the Furious. I've submitted for like Cardi B. So, you're always constantly submitting for these major artists, but it just depends. It's like, it's a hit or miss. There's a 50-50 chance your song will get picked and it's not. So, that doesn't stop me from still doing my thing.
Exactly.
So if I don't get in with the artist, if I can get my song placed in a major movie, I'd be just as happy. So yeah, I'm striving to one day hopefully have the opportunity to say that I have credits for Beyonce or Cardi or Nicki or Megan, or Victoria Monet, like all of them, So yeah.
Because literally at that point, that's when the artists are begging for you. They're like,
right,
I need what you call it to write a track for me.
Yeah,
that's like that is where you like I've made it.
Exactly. Right? Yeah.
I love that she Victoria Monet too, because that's how she started. She started writing Ariana Grande and other artists too, and she was, same.
She was hustling,
just writing songs, and she got a big break this past year.
Yeah, and it took her 15 years. Yeah, exactly. So yeah,
wow,
can't give up. Exactly.
That's a wonderful story.
Yes,
but it's just amazing, like. We talk to a lot of people on our platform and everyone has a different, way they express their, their story. And I see yours as being one of perseverance and just, determination and not letting, what people say really affect you. So I think that's a strength that you possess. And I think it can also be, for sure, very beneficial for people watching to be like, you know what?
I'm going to keep going. I needed that.
Yes.
Right.
Love having those moments on the show.
About creativity and stuff. Like we went back to, we're talking about Missy Elliott and her music videos. You have some wild videos out there. I've seen a couple clips of your music videos and stuff. Tell us one of your favorite music videos you've done.
My favorite, Everybody Dance Now was fun. Everybody Dance Now, we kind of emulated like a workout session, like an 80s workout session. So I was like the instructor. I came in like this old school caddy, came through in the garage, and then like I had this class of girls, and they were like kind of like similar to the workout video by Kanye West. Mm-hmm. It was that kind of vibe. So that was fun, and then it kind of transitioned. It was like we kind of woke up, and we're like now we're in the present time. So that's how the video kind of played out. So that was fun. But Supernatural was I know I'm always talking about Supernatural, but I just love it. I got to play 5 different characters. So I was like, I was the pimp, and then I was the soultress, and then I was the girl on the skates, and then I had the fro, and then I had the gold tooth and the cane and the pimp outfit, and all the mustache. Like, I played the character, so that was very, very fun because that was something new for me, and that was my actual first time ever like really doing an R&B like pop soul type of track. So for it to have the response it did, and just how the whole video came out, and just everything that happened with it, yeah, that was definitely a very memorable video for me. So.
Yeah, that song is fire, by the way. I just want to
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's really interesting to just see the journey, and then the joy that is in your face when you talk about, your accomplishments and stuff. It's like, okay, like I just feel it's a passion.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, I sense that you're still hungry. Like you tasted a little, little success, and you just want more. So
Right.
I love that for you.
Thank you, for sure.
So on top of, your artistry, your modeling, is there anything else that you have lined up that you're like any businesses or anything that you're going to be starting up in the future?
Well, I mean, I do have a vending machine business. I'm not doing it right now, but I was very active with it like the year prior. I had a couple locations. I ended up selling them. So got some money for that. But yeah, I mean, I've been contemplating like getting back into it. I do kind of miss it, the hustle and bustle of it. It was very fun, but it was extremely tiring because it was just me. So I would go and do my shopping and go restock my vending machine and go to the bank, get the coins, and it was up the stairs. And if there was repairs needed, having to go meet the guy, all of that, it was a lot, but it was fun. It was a very good experience because it just added on to the hustle. You know what I'm saying? It kept me motivated. I like to stay active. I'm a very like hyperactive person. I need to be doing something. So it's like, it was nice to be able to juggle that, doing the music. I was traveling. I would come home and have to go do my vending machine. Then I was having to go back here. So it was dope. So I would definitely want to get back into that for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, ladies, take notes. Y'all gotta have talking at the same time simultaneously. That is how you win. And that sounds like that was just pure determination. I'm sure you were tired and you were just like, let's go. Let's do this.
Right. Let's just get it done. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God. Jazzy, you were just inspiring me. Look, I'm like,
okay. And that's what it's about. Inspiring each other. So absolutely.
Right. That is exactly what it's about. Jazzy, who is like a legend that because I know you've been in the building with people. Who is a legend that you've actually met? Hip hop legend or somebody in the industry to be respected in the industry, and you had a very meaningful conversation that left an impact on you.
Oh, I mean, I'm gonna be very honest. I don't think I had a long enough interaction with these folks to feel like it was like super impactful or like, but I did get to meet Queen Latifah, Faith Evans at 24 Hours Apiece. I had performed there a couple of years ago and they were hosting. So an impasse and I got to see them. Fendi, he was another person I got to meet. So yeah, I mean, I never really necessarily had like conversations with them, but just meeting them was a blessing, and just being in their presence and seeing them in actual, in the flesh. And it's like, you've seen them through their struggles and, their stories, the things they've been through to get to these type of rooms and be the person that they are. So that is in itself was very inspiring for me.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Just so much. Like it's one thing after the next. I'm like, we're really excited to see what you're going to do next, honestly.
Thank you.
So what is the rest of the year looking like for you, Jazzy?
So I do have some new music coming out. I'm going to be working a lot more with my sync licensing agency, just trying to get some more music in the catalog so they can do their job and shop it around to these music supervisors. That's really a big focus of mine. I'm going to always create, put videos out, music. That's definitely never going to stop. But I really want to get that done. Like if I can go to the movies and see my music or hear my music, and my name in the credits in the Fast and the Furious or the Bad Boys movie, our soundtrack, something like that, or a Gatorade commercial or a Nike commercial, like that would just make my year. That might make my whole life. Like, and plus, not to mention the money that comes with stuff like that. It's great.
How does that work as far as like the residuals go with the writing credits for movies versus commercials, stuff like that?
Well, all of them all have different payout amounts and different type of requirements and, and different things like that will factor into like the amount. So I'm sure like a movie soundtrack might hold more weight than a commercial. And I'm sure the length of the song and what part of the song plays and where it's being played at and all that will factor into like your residual money. But in terms of upfront, you can make anywhere from as small as $5,000 for a 5-second clip of your music, or even just the instrumental, up to, 5-6 figures, hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on the movie or the commercial, or, if you're dealing with companies like Nike's, Adidas, Body Armor, these type of companies have the budget to pay people. And sometimes, like I was watching an interview with, I think Vince Staples, I think it was. He had a song, he got paid like 3 different times. They never used the song, but they paid him. And he makes his music curtailed to sync licensing. So majority of his music that he makes it with the intention for it to be licensed. Because he knows as an artist, that's, besides touring and merchandise, sync licensing is one of the best ways to make money without having to put out so much money. So, yeah, I mean, if you get in these type of, rooms or conversation with these music supervisors and you're in their catalog and, you're getting picked most of the time for these major budgets, you can clear $100,000 in a year from just your music being played in different type of, environments. So, yeah.
Nia, that's actually a good question. I wanted to add on to Nia's question too, because this is the age of streaming. You have TikTok, you have Instagram. People are constantly using music for reels and stuff. So how does that translate as far as like monetization for the artists? Instagram pays you obviously for like reels played and stuff like that. So, you get your payouts from Instagram or the metaverse from Facebook. But in terms of, it's the platform. So like Tidal pays more cents per stream than I think like YouTube would, or Apple Music, or Spotify. So all the different platforms have a schedule of how they pay their artists. So it's streaming though. The crazy thing about it is you don't make that much off of it. Like you have to stream millions and millions and millions to even see a few thousand. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So the streaming for artists is not where they make majority of their money. Appearances, touring, merchandise, anything where there's not much of a middleman, and also too depends on the type of deal they're in. If they're in a 360 deal, or if they're an independent artist. If you're an independent artist, then you're pocketing most of the profit, but you're also spending more because you don't have a big, you don't have someone backing you unless you have, a distribution deal. So it's so many things that factor into how artists can get paid and, how much they get paid. But like with sync licensing, it's literally me and an agent. They'll say, hey, we'll pay you $50,000 for this song to be in this movie. Me and my agent split it 50-50. I get all the royalties. They get just 50-50 of the upfront fee. So I get $25,000 plus every 3 months BMI pays. If you're a BMI or ASCAP publishing house, that's typically what artists like sign themselves up for when they're registering their music. They'll pay you every quarter. So there's 4 quarters. So you'll see that money depending on how many times the song plays, where it got played at. So there's a lot that goes into it. But I'm sorry, I got all lost on the place.
No,
I
was like, wow.
Yeah. So I mean, streaming, to answer your question, like you don't really make much money off of streaming. Honestly, you might make more money off of how many plays your reel gets on Facebook or Instagram than you may from Spotify.
Yeah, I was going to ask, because I think that's kind of what you were asking, right, Pam? You mean like the originators of these TikToks and stuff?
Right. Because like the intro, like
the songs that catch on TikTok and Instagram.
Exactly.
Yeah. Monetization, but are they being compensated as the originator of these songs?
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, because our songs are in a database. So like, you know, when you go like put up your story and then you search like Beyonce or Megan
Right.
Thee Stallion, you know, and then their song comes up. So that's how many times the song plays, like all that gets calculated based off of whatever metric that the system's going through, whether it be Spotify, Instagram, Apple Music, but all that will count towards streaming because it's being
I see.
played. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, they will still count that towards your streams.
So that's how that goes. It falls into that whole thing of the streaming payments.
Right,
Okay.
right, exactly. Yeah. So that would be a part of that.
Because we know how, as a regular content creator, we would get paid or compensated off the reel, but we mean
Right.
as an originator that falls with the streams.
Right,
Okay.
with the music. Yes, yes,
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
See, I learned something new today. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Definitely. I'm learning a lot from her, actually.
Yes.
And it's just really cool because, once again, we're not thinking about the, ins and outs and the works of what it takes for these mega platforms to run successfully. And it takes people who know what they're doing, as artists, to
Right.
have talent to even be showcased in the first place. So,
Right.
kudos to, the tech world, because we are moving, okay?
Yes, we are.
Ahead.
I did have a question too, Jazzy. Do you have it's a two-part question. Do you have a mentor and a mentee that you have under your wing?
I actually do not. So I don't have a mentor. I think my biggest influence, honestly, not to be cliche, would be my mom.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Just the hustle, the drive, working multiple jobs and staying up late and, all the things like I've seen her do throughout her life to accomplish the things she's accomplished. That definitely has resonated with me a lot and still is a big part of who I am today. So she would definitely be someone that I would say throughout my life has been a major influence. But I don't have like a mentor. I have people that I know that I could, ask advice and have conversations with, but they don't necessarily feel like they're a mentor. And I don't necessarily have anyone under my wing. Like I have people that come to me, ask me advice, questions, all the things, but I wouldn't necessarily say I'm mentoring them. I've been maybe a staple in their life and a part of their journey in terms of giving them some good advice or maybe being a helping hand. But I wouldn't necessarily say like a mentee or a mentor to them. So,
Gotcha. Yeah. But still leaving an impact. That means something. So
right.
Well, somebody may consider you as a mentor though out there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, you never know.
I definitely can see it. So Jazzy, you kind of explain everything that's going on for the rest of the year. Can you please tell the followers that are watching, or people that are thinking about jumping into the entertainment industry at a time where women may feel pressure, to be their sexiest, to be competing with everybody? What can a female artist do to try to stand out amongst the crowd? Because we know, there's certain packaged looks that are, being marketed right now. So what can she do to stand out and,
Well, I mean, the great thing about the day and age that we're in now, women aren't so suppressed as we used to be, so I think a lot of people are accepting us expressing and embracing our sexuality and, our sexual freedom, showing more cleavage or a little cheek, as before that would be like so frowned upon. So I think that being yourself is always the best bet, whatever you're doing, just be yourself. Like you see people like Baby Tate, she's a fire rapper and she got the fupa, she got the cellulite and she wears it proudly. And so many people love her and support her. And I don't say that to be shady because I got it too. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like it ain't no shame, but she loves and supports it and embraces who she is. She's a natural girly, so, and there are a lot of female artists that I see coming up who are natural girlies. And, we know about the BBL girlies too, but I mean, I think there's I think everyone can fit in. There's a lane for everybody. You know what I'm saying? I think that if you just focus on you, do you, put those blinders on and kind of just not worry about what everyone else got going on, the right people will resonate with you and gravitate to you. So you'll find those people will find you. You know what I'm saying? As you venture out and you just be who you are and put yourself in different environments and places and actually put yourself out there and interact with people, you will find the crowd that's for you, the fans that are for you. They will support you, you know what I'm saying? And some people won't, and that's cool, but there will be people that love what you do. Just be you. So that's your best bet.
I love that. Yes, so much.
You know, and I love just her demeanor and just her delivery of everything, because it's you really truly are blessed, Jazzy, because you've had such positive like experience with, you know, everything you've gone through, you know, and you just
I've turned it into that.
She turned
Yes, ma'am. I definitely have. I will say that I've had some not so nice experiences for sure throughout my life, but I always try to find a silver lining. I haven't always been this bubbly, positive person. I had to go through life experiences that made me realize and sit and think like I have a lot to be grateful for. And there's, you know, there's always a bigger picture. So once I kind of got over myself and, you know, the self wallowing and pitying, and I always think to myself, I'm like, there's somebody out here that has it way worse than me. You know what I'm saying? Like 10 times worse. And they're still chucking and jiving. You know what I'm saying? So it's like this little issue I got going on. If I just give it to God and do my part, I'm going to be all right. And I am always all right. So yeah, that's why I am so positive, or try to be, because I'm like, it's going to work out. However it's going to work out, it's going to work out, you know? So
I love that.
So we met her healed, in other words.
Right.
We didn't meet the old Jazzy.
Yes, right, exactly.
What would you tell the old Jazzy now about herself? What are 3 things that the old Jazzy did that just make you cringe at this point in life?
Old Jazzy had a bad temper. So I have come, I was very sharp at the tongue, like quick. Like everything pissed me off. And I'm like, I'm not like that now. A lot of things roll off my back. I mean, I'm still a little spicy. You know, I'm a little feisty. But but I pick my battles wisely.
For the right occasion.
Right, exactly. For the right occasion, they'll come out, but it's not every occasion. So I'm so glad that, you know, I'm not that part of myself anymore. So that was the cringiness. And caring what people thought about me. Like, I was one of those girls that, like, always, even I would try to act like I would feel bothered. You know, it's like, what do they think about me? Did they stink this? Like, I always had those thoughts in my head. So now I don't care. I really don't care what nobody think about me. And I feel great about that, because it's like, so what? You know, everyone's going to have something to say, whether it be positive, negative. So it's like, honestly, what matters the most to me is how I feel about myself, which I love myself. And the people that I care about the most, like, as long as we good, you know, and they're proud of me and they see me, you know, for who I am, I'm good, you know? Yeah. So, yeah. And then my last thing, I didn't take my time. I was very impatient. I'm not the most patient person, not gonna lie, but I've come a long way. I used to be very impatient. Like, I feel like I missed out on some things or might have messed up a couple blessings by rushing. So now I kind of understand. I'm like, I'm not as quick to react, or I'm not as quick to do something. So now I just be like, all right, let me just see how this going to play out. Let me give it a day or two. Let me not, you know, so patience is a virtue. It really is.
It is. But don't you think, though, that without those lessons of going through that stuff, like, don't you think you're better off now? Because you may have missed a blessing, but didn't you learn something from it? Like, that's the way I look at life. Because
absolutely.
Yeah, if I were to sit there and just, you know, reminisce or think about what could have been with situations that fell through or whatever happened, then no. Progression, you know, so I think that's really so important. It's so important to make sure that we, you know, yes, acknowledge the mistake or whatever happened, and we just go forward and learn from it. I think that's a beautiful part of life that people don't appreciate. They beat themselves up, like you said.
Right.
And once you get into that realization that you don't care what people think, it's okay to mess up. You feel a little lighter because wow, you know, no,
exactly.
nice. That's all that matters. It's me and my
Yeah.
There you go.
So much wisdom, girl. Like, oh my gosh.
Thank you.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, and she's just talking with us, having a regular conversation, but she doesn't realize that it's. I mean, maybe she does. It's really impactful,
It
Jazzy.
is.
Like really, everything.
Thank you.
I know we're talking about entertainment, but just the basis, the principle of just being authentically yourself and
Yes.
your truth and doing stuff by your way, your terms. And look, I see a
Right.
boss in front of me. I know, you know what I'm saying? I see a boss, Jazzy.
Okay. Thank you, ladies.
Yes. Yes.
So real quick, if you tell our followers and listeners where they can find you on socials and all of your handles.
Yes, absolutely. So make sure you guys check me out on all streaming platforms, Juicy Jas. For Instagram, it's Juicily L Jazz. So it's Juicy JuicyLJas. That's also on Twitter and Threads. And then TikTok is Jasmine Alicia 7, but all that's linked on my Instagram. So if you just go to Instagram, you'll find all of that. So check me out, tap in, I follow back, I interact. I am not stuck up or bougie. So make sure you guys, check me out and talk to me. I'm definitely, yes.
Love that. Because sometimes you'll interact with someone, and like you said earlier, you'll either hear from them or you don't. And it's
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for stopping by, Dynasty
Thank
Queen.
you. I am so happy that you guys had me tonight. I had a wonderful time, a great conversation with you ladies. Yeah. And keep doing your thing because I checked out some of your episodes. Y'all are doing the thing. Keep going. I'm loving it. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. So I see y'all.
Look, I'm just going to repeat what Jazzy said. Don't y'all forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification for us. Let us know what you think in the comments. We'd love to hear what you think about Jazzy, what you think about the show today. And of course, as usual, thank you so much for tuning in. I am your host, Pamela Nicole, with my beautiful co-host,
Nia J.
And this is Dynasty Queens. See ya.
Bye. Bye.